My name is Logan Sneed, the author of Thank You Cancer. In today's Ever Forward episode, I want to take you through the journey of having a near-death experience, having a life expectancy of 1 to 10 years, and achieving things that I thought were impossible, all because of cancer, and how I'm so grateful for it. Welcome to Ever Forward Radio, and I hope you guys enjoy.
3, 2, 1.
All right. Logan, what's up, man?
Nothing
Welcome
much,
to the show.
dude. Good to meet you finally.
Finally, this has literally been a year in the making. I was going in through my texts for this trip, and it was literally this time last year, maybe by about a week or two, where I had another trip planned for Austin, and then the world imploded, pandemic and all that stuff. But we're here now, man. That's what matters most.
It's awesome, man.
And you're someone that no doubt finds the advantage in the adversity. And we're going to get into your story more in detail here in a second. But I'm curious, coming out of this global pandemic now and just so many things that this has taught us, what has been your biggest lesson over the last year coming out of COVID-19?
Oh, man. I think COVID has, I think the biggest lesson is learn about, you can teach yourself a lot of things. And what I mean by that is, you're going to hear a lot of voices of COVID's going to do this to you. No, it's going to do this to you. No, it's going to do that to you. And a lot of people end up listening to all the voices, but they don't listen to themselves. And so there's a lot of other problems that come out with that, right? It's COVID never negatively affected me, and I'm very blessed to say that it didn't. It didn't hurt my business.
So, yeah.
It didn't hurt me, any of those things. But I think a lot of people, it did hurt them in their job. Maybe they lost their job, and I think they thought in their mind, that's it. There's no other opportunities. You can't do anything. And I think what I learned for other people in a way is hey, there's a solution to every problem. It just depends on how you see it. Mm-hmm. You lost your job. Well, guess what? There's probably a whole lot of others that opened up. And you probably are now going to meet a whole lot of other people that you never thought you'd meet if COVID didn't happen. Yeah. So I think what I learned is opportunities are gone, but then it creates new ones. And I see that for myself and for other people as well.
Well said, man. And I couldn't agree more. When the world locked down, when everything we knew more or less just stopped and or changed, it was a moment where we had to kind of rise up, right? So the lesson you just shared is profound, but I'm curious, can you take us back to what did you actually do to rise up to this occasion? What did you actually do? Did you have that moment of fear like maybe a lot of us did? Did you just immediately see opportunity? Hindsight is great, but what did you actually do during that moment of uncertainty?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I can be influenced pretty easy, pretty quickly. It's good. It's not so good. And I think, when you see the news pop up or something, right? And now 10,000 people died today. And you're like, oh, geez, am I next? And I think the way that I reacted to it was at first I was getting a little nervous, but then I learned over time, I was wait, I dove deeper. I was it looks people are dying, right? But wait, I'm a cancer patient, but there's way more cancer deaths happening, and that's being ignored. Yeah. Right. So I learned over time to react in it in a way that you can control what you can control. You can't control the news. So are you going to sit there and listen to the news all day, and then they determine how you feel and what happens? Or are you going to start doing your own research, finding your own solutions to your own problems? That's what I learned. That's how I reacted to it. And over time, I was I'm not saying I ditched my mask and just went haywire. It's not what I did. But I understood it may not affect me the way it affects other people. So I'm going to be conscious of these things, but I'm not going to mentally let it hold me back and think that I'll be dead tomorrow if somebody touches me or breathes in my face. I don't know, whatever, So those sort of things is kind of what I learned in that sense.
It kind of sounds like you've been there before. You mentioned, you're a cancer patient, and you have had an incredible, horrific experience, I would even say, in dealing with that, and especially at such a young age, man. Did it kind of take you back to those moments of health, of being afraid of, I don't know what's going on in my world or the world around me? Was it a trigger for you, or did you feel because what you went through made you that much more able to kind of endure that again?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think at first, right, because it's not, I don't watch the news, right? But the news can be spreading.
Yeah.
Right. So then somebody's like, dude, hey, like, did you hear about how like the cancer death rates of like cancer patients is like sky high through COVID? And at first in my mind, I'm like, oh, geez, yeah, that's me. Like I had cancer. Like, does that mean like I'm very susceptible to it?
In terms of being like immunocompromised, that
yeah, exactly. Like, does this mean like I'm probably going to get it and I can't beat this thing? Or like, what the heck does that mean?
Yeah.
So I started racing in my mind a little bit, but I never really believed. It's not that I didn't believe it. I never took it in as in like, oh yeah, they're right. Like I should start freaking out. So I learned over time again more about my health itself, and I realized like, look, knock on wood, Logan, you've not been sick in literally like 3-5 years. You've been cancer free for 5 years. You feel better than ever before. I mean, why worry about somebody else categorizing you in this category when you were there? You're not there anymore.
Yeah.
So that is what really gave me that confidence in realizing that I don't want to say it's not as big of a deal as we thought or we think it is, but there are things that we can't control, and that's what gave me that confidence.
Where did you learn this? Where did you learn this approach, this philosophy, this mindset of control the controllables?
Oh geez, man. It's I learned it from myself. I think the biggest thing is like we can hear all the mindset stuff. We can go into these motivational events and we can do all these amazing things and feel great. But the biggest thing is that it's when we do the work nobody wants to do by ourselves or behind the scenes. I call it the boring work, right?
Yeah, it's not that glamorous. It's not that sexy. It's very monotonous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, like boring work, like we don't sit here and be like, dude, you ready for tomorrow? Like we're going to start doing blah, 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 right? It's more fun to say, dude, you ready to shoot some dope content tomorrow?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. That's exciting. So the boring work is what I did, like where I basically optimized my health. I said, you're not going to be eating this. You're not going to be eating that. Okay. You're not going to be around this environment and you're not going to be forced to do this. And you're going to optimize your health to beat this cancer. Simple as that. And over time, whenever I had a plan, I took the action. It just gave me more and more confidence. Confidence, I truly believe, is built by action and consistency.
Yeah.
I think consistency is the biggest thing that people don't focus on, or they let it go, or they kind of hide themselves from it. But I remained so consistent, and it gave me that confidence over time, going through that.
So we've been kind of dancing around a little bit, and thank you for sharing that approach. It's huge.
Yeah.
But let's get into what you actually went through.
Yeah.
And so much, you went through something so wild, again, at such a young age, to come out on the other side and have such a profound sense of gratitude for it. It's literally the title of your book, Thank You, Cancer. It didn't start with gratitude, I'm sure. So Can we go back to, how did you know? Were you fighting some kind of illness? Were you just off, and then the diagnosis? Let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah. So I'll dissect the story, and feel free to interrupt me as I go through this.
Okay.
That way I don't, boom, and then go all the way back. So, it was literally like 5 years ago, almost exactly, almost 5 years. Like the 28th of this month is when I had brain surgery. So what is that, like 4 days from now? Like at the time that we're recording this?
Yeah. 5 days.
Yeah. So I was on the way to a gym one day. I was in the middle of college. It was spring break for when I was in college. And I went to college with my girlfriend that I went to high school with. And we were together for like sophomore, junior, senior, freshman year of college. Now it's sophomore year of college. And I don't know what it was. I've never in my life said, I'm going to go FaceTime while I'm driving. Never did it one time.
Wow.
But that day I was going to the gym and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call her and say hi. So
being a good boyfriend.
Do what?
Being a good boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't know. Let me just surprise her. Shoot, whatever. So I was driving to the gym and I just started FaceTiming her. I was like, hey, just want to check in. How's your day going? Whatever. And as I'm talking to her, I started slurring my words. And it's where you're like, you have the words right there at your tongue. You in your mind, you're like, I know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But you just can't say it. And so I started doing that and I started slurring them like I was like super drunk, like very drunk. And she started laughing because she thought it was like a joke. And suddenly I had a seizure while I was driving. Never in my life have I had a seizure.
Wow.
Not one time ever, ever, ever. And so she watched the whole seizure while I was driving, obviously because I was FaceTiming her. And here's what's crazy is like I drove half a mile unconscious and there was no damage to the car at all. I drove into a ditch.
Wow.
There was not a dent, nothing. And literally like if I were to, take you on the path where I was driving, you would say in your mind like, okay, if you went on this highway, you'd have been plowed over by 85 mile an hour cars. Secondly, you would have hit the entryway, where those trash cans are. When you go on there, you would have smashed right in that and died. Or you would have just drove off and you would have plowed through all these cars on the side of the road into these parking lots and stuff. So no damage.
Seemingly death in every direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a horrific outcome.
Yeah. I mean, it's like right there, path to death. Nothing happened. Like literally nothing happened. So thankfully I was FaceTiming her. And so she knew where I was going. So she was able to call the ambulance like, hey, this is, he's driving a 20 whatever Toyota and he's going here, so we don't know where he's at, but this is where he's going. So they found me, they came in, they had to break the windows to get in, take me out because obviously it was locked and everything. I was passed out. They took me to the hospital. I was still basically passed out, and I remember getting there and then like I just see these doctors, like I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like what? So the
last thing you remember is FaceTiming her, and then the next thing you know, you're surrounded by doctors.
Yeah, just in a hospital bed, and like they kind of, my parents came, so they're like freaking out, like what is going on? And they're like, guys, what's going on? And they're like, we have no idea. We're not really sure what's happening here. And so they drug tested me. They're like, yeah, no, there's nothing here. Like no, there's no drugs or like whatever. And they're like, we're not really sure. So they had to like go do their little doctor meeting, came back, and they're like, all right, the only thing that we can maybe do here is do an MRI. That's the only thing we can do. So so they go and put me into an MRI, and comes back, and the guy was like, hey, look, like, and they didn't tell me this. They told my parents, like, hey, so it looks like there's something in there. So I would recommend you guys seeing a neurologist. So I just kind of, I didn't know, just kind of was going with the flow. Didn't think it was really that big of a deal. I just thought it was a bad situation. So come back the next day, the neurologist goes, whoa. So I would recommend you guys going to see a neurosurgeon.
Wow.
So, and this is all within about 24 hours. And like, okay, so another 24 hours, we go see a neurosurgeon. Literally, like, it was in a building, like, just down the road. And go in there, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? Like, good to meet you. And he's like, hey, Logan, I just want you to know, like, real quick, before we kind of go into this, if we are going to be doing brain surgery here, that you won't be able to speak or hear after this surgery. Just want you to kind of know that. And I was like,
he led with that.
It's first thing he said, not, hey, this is my name. It's good to meet you.
Oh my gosh.
It's exactly what he said right there. So I was like, it's like my heart sunk. Within 24 hours to go from life is perfectly amazing to, hey, you're basically going to not speak and hear for the rest of your life, and you're going to get brain surgery. So I didn't know what to think or what to expect, and it really it didn't make me sad or like upset. It made me a little angry at what was happening and why it was happening. So we left there. We're literally in the parking lot. My parents, I'm so grateful to have such hard mindset parents. And my mom was like, okay, we're not going to work with that surgeon. We're going to go find somebody else. So thankfully, I was able to get connected with the #1 brain surgeon in the world. His name is Dr. Raymond Sawaya.
In the world, wow.
In the world, that's what he's known as, right? There's probably some other guys who same category, but he's no doubt about it, top 5 in the world. If anyone's looking for a brain surgeon, I hope not, but it's Raymond Sawaya. You can look him up.
We hope not, right?
But so we go there. We literally 24 hours. We're in Houston, like ready to go meet the guy. And I was like, hey, look, doctor, like, it's great to meet you, but I just want to know here, like, am I going to be able to speak or hear after this thing? Because the last guy I talked to, he said, no, I wouldn't be able to. And he goes, what? It's like, dude, if I'm doing the surgery here, dude, you're fine. He's like, no, like, if it's me, you're fine. And that, like, I was whoa. Like, the tutor, like.
You were probably holding your breath the whole time.
Dude, yeah, I mean, of course, but it's like what blew my mind is that like these two guys have the most difficult jobs in the world, and these are two completely different outcomes. So it's like this guy said, hey, it's not going to go well. This guy said, hey, it's going to go nearly perfect. It is going to be perfect. So
Same endeavor, completely different mindsets.
Yeah, exactly. That is what, like, it made me realize, like, that's the guy that I want to be around. Like, that's the guy that I'll literally give my life to for 8 hours,
Yeah.
So I trust that, So he was like, well, hold on though, but we're going to have surgery like within probably about 12 to 18 hours.
Like now.
Like 12 to 18 hours, we're going to take you through some exercises. We're going to see where you're at right now, but then we'll see you here in the morning at around 5:30.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. He's like, we got to get this thing out ASAP.
Wow.
Like, it's growing so fast. So I went through a whole day of like exercises, doing all these movements and everything. And it was so overwhelming. Like, I was going in for this MRI, then doing this x-ray and this thing. And I just passed out. Like, I fell over because I was walking to the thing. Thankfully, a doctor caught me. And it was so bizarre. And then, like, go to bed, right? Go to bed that night. And waking up at 5:30 in the morning. And now you're going into a brain surgery for the whole day. So
how was your weekend, everybody?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, it was, of course, hard for me to sleep. Like, I'm not going to go to bed. Oh, I'm so grateful for, waking up tomorrow and surgery, whatever. Like, so, I woke up and it was such a daunting, like, moment. Like, you ever see those movies where there's, like, super, like, it's not, like, scary, but it's, like, a very daunting, like, exhilarating, like, intense moment and your heart starts beating? And that's literally what it was. It was like super dark out. I'm driving in the car at 5:30 in the morning downtown Houston.
Wow.
To the hospital.
Yeah.
And like, all I'm thinking is like, okay, well, either you're dead or you're alive or you don't speak or you don't hear again.
At that point, could you fathom any possible positive outcome? I'm assuming it was probably best case scenario, I'm alive. And then after that, like, how did you kind of prioritize or even give a hierarchy to what you possibly could think could be possible, good positive outcomes?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, I do believe there is a God out there. I do believe that everyone has their own way of believing this way and that way, and that, everyone's got their own way. And I just believe that whatever God is out there, like, I felt confident. I really did. I felt like this was going to be okay. Like, that's all I really put my energy towards, because that doctor, he has a mindset that, like, there's the 99% mindset, there's the 0.9% mindset, and there's the 0.1% mindset. And that's like a dude who literally, like, you can't tell me to find somebody to be like, yeah, bro, I got your back. We'll go do an 8-hour brain surgery and you'll be fine. Like, I mean, that, like, I've never seen that in my life.
The elite of the elite of the elite.
Super elite. And so it gave me that like confidence. Like, I trust this guy. Like, whatever we do, like, I trust him. So I go in there and I'm laying on this, like, strap table, whatever. They bring in a pastor, like, say your prayers. Like, that was very interesting as well. Of course, you got to sign your docs. My girlfriend's there, my girlfriend's dad, and my mom's over there bawling her eyes out. Like, it's a pretty intense thing. And, like, you say your, goodbyes and stuff like that, and they push me through this. You see, like, in these movies, it's like a neuroscience lab hallway in a way. Push me through there. They take me into this big old room, and you see, like, in a football game, you see the in the press box, you see the offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators in there. They basically had a press box there. It was like this doctor, on their, like, devices, and they put the strap table there, and they put me on there, and they just did it in a way where they tried to make you so, like, calm and, like, it's gonna be okay. Like, they did a great job at that. So they knocked me out, but they did say, like, hey, before we do this, like, we're gonna wake you up in the middle of the surgery. And we're going to ask you a few questions just to see if we can. In the
middle of brain surgery.
Yeah.
We're going to wake you up and, like, have afternoon tea, or, like, what, we're going to take a break and chill? Like.
Yeah, I know. I was like, all right, well, we'll see how that goes. So the reason they did that is because it was in the temporal lobe, which is right above our left ear. And that's the speaking and hearing part. So the reason they did that is say, hey, we're going to ask you some questions. We're going to see how you kind of react to these things. And if you can't hear, if you can't speak, we'll have to cut the surgery short. But as long as you're responding, you're hearing, we'll keep it going.
We need to know we're moving in the right direction or change course.
Yeah, exactly. So we go into this, and they wake me up in the surgery. I still remember, like, what they asked me was like, hey, what are your brother's names? Hey, where are you from? Hey, who's the president of the United States right now? Like, these deep questions. And I just, like, I answered him so intensely as I could, just to show like, I'm fine. Okay, keep the surgery going. Like, let's get this thing out and let's just get it done with. So I was fine. It was perfectly done, phenomenally well. 8 hours went by. The full tumor was removed. So it was basically an egg, literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just chilling up here.
Just chilling up here. And what's more crazy, it was there for 6 years. Yeah. I had no idea. Like, I had no clue it was there.
Yo, human bodies, man, that's so weird.
It is so weird, dude. Like, I was a phenomenal athlete. I was district MVP on the basketball team. I had college basketball opportunities. But this thing was here, and I had severe headaches every day. And so the severe headaches, like, I just thought it was normal that everyone gets that. So I would literally just, like, sit there, in the middle of practice and just squeeze my head. I'm like, all right, it's fine. It's good. And I did that for 6 years. And the thing was fully removed, which is incredible. So I literally was recovered within like a day and a half, and I walked out of there. It's totally fine. I felt relieved. Life was like ready to move on. I was like, let's freaking do it. Just conquered a pretty intense thing. Let's go. So they said, okay, well, we'll see you in about 2 weeks to hear the diagnosis. But go on, recover. You should be fine. We'll see you then. And the fact that they removed like the whole tumor is like, it is very difficult for that to happen.
I'm sure, yeah.
Just for any tumor, right? So it gave me the confidence, like, not a big deal. Won't be anything bad. Hey, there's nothing. I mean, the tumor's gone. So, it can't be anything bad. And nothing there. So 2 weeks go by. I go into the room and meet the neuro-oncologist. So it's like another level up thing. And so I go in there and basically I shake hands with the doctor, and she's like, she sits down. She doesn't look me in the eyes. Like, no, like, hey, great to meet you. And she's kind of like sitting there, kind of, twiddling her fingers, kind of going like this, and she's like, well, so great surgery, but, I just want to tell you, like, this is a stage 4 glioblastoma brain tumor. This is the most deathly cancer there is. And it looks like that you have about 1 to 10 years of your life expectancy. And I was like, what? Like, it was one of those just like life was here, went back up here because I was like, it's all fine, to just way down here. So I didn't know what to do. Like, I literally almost I feel like I added 100 pounds on me. Because when like the most intelligent humans in the world, when they say like, hey, you're probably going to be dead here pretty soon. What am I going to say? Oh, I'm smarter than you. Like, I'm not.
Who comes back to that?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to have a comeback for that?
Yeah. It's like, I basically lost. Yeah. Right. So, anyways, we're going in this. My parents are staying very strong, very hard nosed. And my dad was like, well, she goes, so what we'll do here is we'll do some chemotherapy. We'll do some radiation. But it's really about all we can do here. And, we'll just see kind of how this goes. And so my dad was like, all right, well, hold on. So, is there anything that my son should or should not eat? Maybe just like, I don't know, stop eating blank, or maybe eat this and that. And she's like, no, I'm sorry. There's really nothing we can do about this. And he's like, okay, well, hold on. So he can go have just some beers and some burgers and he's fine. Like, that's it. It won't have any problems. She's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So the best doctors in the world, the best minds in the world are telling you it doesn't matter, more or less, maybe not these exact words, it doesn't matter what you do from here on out, your outcome's going to be the same.
That was almost her exact words. It blew my mind. I was like, is this what's really happening? Like, to millions of people who go through this? Because I never thought in my life that I would be a cancer patient. Like, that's the last thing I ever thought. And now I was. And so when I heard that, I was like, man, I was like, you know what? Like, there's got to be something. Like, I don't care what it is. It could be you sleep better.
Yeah, give me something, Doc. Come on.
Yeah, like,
give me, even just dangle some kind of hopeful carrot in front of me.
Seriously,
give me
just
some kind of hope.
Yeah, just drink more water. I don't know. Yeah. So we leave there, and that was, again, probably the most difficult moment of my life, because now I'm walking out. I'm like, well, geez, okay. So I'll be dead here soon. I'm taking up time, space, money, energy, everything. Like, what's the point? I'm basically just being drug around now. Like, there's no point of me living. So I went through a very hard time. I obviously, basically being dead. I never thought of committing suicide or any of that stuff. I just felt hopeless. I felt.
Yeah. I mean, you were quite literally given a death sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
An expiration date.
Yeah. It's almost like somebody, you know, like it's different than a prisoner, but like, you know, they know when they're going to be executed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was basically like. So I go in, but like something was just lingering in my mind. Like, dude, there's something there. Like, you can try something. I don't care what it is. Like, you've heard the whole sugar causes cancer. So whether it's true, whether it's not, why don't you just try it? Right. So like I stopped, you know, I don't know, having like ice cream or like, you know, whatever. So 2 weeks go by. My parents are like hard work, like research. So grateful for that. Like, could not be more grateful, because I think there's a lot of situations where a lot of parents would say like, oh my God, like, you know, he's going to die. Like, we'll just soak up the time with him. They were like, no, just, like, forget that. Like, we're going to find a way to win this. So 2 weeks go by, and there was a mentor of mine. He used to live here in Austin. He was my mentor through all my basketball career, like all my, like, just life journey, everything. Yeah. So it was a mentor of mine guiding me through, you know, life in general, just like, you know, becoming an entrepreneur, you know, leveling up, all those sort of things. So we actually go paddleboarding down here on the river, in the Austin River. And you know, we were just catching up because we haven't talked to him in a long time, really since diagnosis till then. And we didn't talk because he knew that there was like so many messages and like, you know, hey, I was
giving you the space.
Yeah, exactly. And so we go down there, and he's like, hey dude, so have you heard of this keto diet thing? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's called the ketogenic diet. Now, this is 5 years ago. This is when nobody, like, it was barely even born.
There were about 6 people doing keto. I think.
Literally. Like, nobody knew what this was. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, well, so there's actually research on GBM tumors specifically on shrinking tumors or preventing tumor regrowth.
No shit.
Yeah. So I was like, whoa. He was like, yeah, it's really interesting. There's been really successful stories and some pretty insane stories on this. And I was like, so what does that mean? Like, what do you do? And he's like, so you eat high fat, medium protein, low carb. And I was like, oh, low carb? Like, that kind of made me like, because I was like,
being an athlete.
Yeah, athlete.
Playing basketball, playing sports. That's.
Yeah, it was so different. But I mean, like, so in the middle of that, I was in college. I didn't accept college basketball opportunities because I was very devoted to this relationship. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that's a stupid decision. Well, I'll explain why it was actually a great one.
Okay.
And so, because I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, as soon as I got to college, I was like, I want to drop out and be able to say, like, I'm dropping out because I'm running my own business.
Wow.
So that was like my goal.
Wow.
And so.
That fast, huh?
Yeah, it was my goal since high school. And so he tells me about this thing, and he was like, yeah, so it actually has been shown to help, you know, fat loss. It's helped, you know, develop lean muscle. There's even people who are like super endurance athletes doing this. And I was like, whoa, for real? I was like, okay. I was like, all right, well, shoot, I'll check this out tonight. So I literally go home, and I stayed up till like 3 a.m. in the morning, just like, keto diet. What do I do? Like, what the heck is this? What is it for? I looked up the research, everything. And I just read so many benefits of it. Now, I like, it's not a one size fits all. Like, it's not for everybody.
But for your purposes, it was looking very promising.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was like, if it's going to beat brain cancer, or I don't know, maybe it doesn't, I'll try it, but I'm going to make it work. Like, I'm not going to go into this saying like, we'll see if I like it, or we'll just try it. I was like, I'll make it work. I don't care. That's it. So literally that next day, I started trying this thing out. I made like my first meal. I was like, okay, well, this is pretty good. Like eggs, avocado, steak. Like, all right, that's not bad. So I went full throttle. I never second guessed it. I never looked back, any of that stuff. It gave me confidence. It gave me like, hey, there's something there, because I'm that type of person where like, I always love pursuing things, whether it's a goal for my business, my life. Like, I love pursuing the goals more than I do more than I like achieving the goal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what it gave to me. It gave me some hope.
That's where the growth comes from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It gave me some hope in these things. And so I went full throttle, and I started seeing crazy results. Like, I was probably about 180 to 190 pounds. I was not like, of course I had more body fat, but I was a very like hulky, muscular dude.
Okay.
And I always wanted to be like just yoked. Like, that was the goal.
Always, right?
Yeah, who's not, right? So, so now I started like really changing. I started getting super lean, like very lean. And I started posting on social media, and people were like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing?
Like, you're supposed to have cancer.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be sick. You're not supposed to be looking this good.
Exactly. You're doing chemotherapy and
Yeah.
you're doing radiation, but they're like, no, that's not real. You're photoshopping. I was getting so much hate. And then I was like, yeah, well, so I started showing like, hey guys, this is the keto diet. Like, not saying everyone do this thing. This is just what I'm doing. If you're like curious, because I know I'm getting questions. And it started like exponentially growing like crazy. I was literally one of the first keto influencers on Instagram at the time.
Wow, no shit.
Yeah, so I was getting so much hate.
Oh, I can imagine.
Absolutely. And I started seeing crazy results, but I was like, hold on. I was like, I'm getting so many questions. So why not like build my own business here to show people what I'm doing? Because it's working for me. Not saying it'll work for everybody, but why not give it a shot? So I started my own health, fitness, nutrition business, and it started taking off, man. Like I think it was like one day I was like with my girlfriend. I was like, I made $500 today. I was like, this is crazy. Like I was so excited. And I told her, I was like, all right, look. So here's the plan. Okay. I was like, I'm going to build this business. The goal is to be able to drop out, to make enough money. So that way, when we graduate and we're set in stone, house is ready to go. We don't have to worry about, hey,
future-proofing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want us to sit here and say, oh my gosh, how are we going to pay for this and this and this? I was like, I just want it set in stone. We live life. She never really believed that. She never really, and I get it. Like when you have a kid with cancer and like college and like saying he's going to do all these things, it's not realistic. It doesn't sound realistic.
Okay.
At least for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
I understand why she maybe didn't believe that.
Yeah.
So I started again taking off like crazy, and life was going up, man. It was going really well. I felt very motivated, felt great physically, mentally, emotionally, making money. I was like, dude, this is amazing. And then one day, so I was dating this girl for 4 years. Literally, it was like, we're so devoted to each other, everything. Saturday morning, and it was a great day. Like, we're going to go to a big football game for the school. It was like big rivalry game, about to win the conference championship. And I wake up and I look at my phone, and I see literally like the longest text message I've ever seen in my life.
Which is never a good thing.
No.
99% of the time, it's never a good thing, especially coming from a significant other.
Exactly.
It was from her.
Exactly. So I look at this thing, I'm like, my heart just sunk so fast. And I sat there just reading the whole thing, and it was a breakup text. And I'll be very honest with you that was probably more difficult than the diagnosis itself.
Wow.
Because it was almost all that I had left. Right? Like, I had friends.
Truly.
I had other people, but everyone's all across the country in their own colleges. It's a time in my life where I got to meet new people, try new things. And she was probably about the only one I had left as far as like exploring the world. So,
and you're already building a future, planning for a future with her.
Absolutely. I mean, it was one of those, high school marriage sort of things, right? And that text, I like sunk to my knees. I didn't know what to do. I literally was like losing it. And I've never talked to her again. We've never had like a, hey, so I just want to explain, like, here's why this happened.
Wow.
I wish you the best. Like, not one time.
That is almost, if not even dare say, rarer than I think your brain tumor.
Exactly.
That type of there usually is like a follow-up on one person's end or another of, let me explain, let's get back together, or let's just, I mean, especially given the circumstances of what you were going through, this isn't just like it's not me, it's you kind of thing, or I met somebody else. I mean, then again, who knows what was going on in her world, in her mind. I mean, that's such a big thing to take on as well. Your significant other, your boyfriend, your partner for a couple of years at this point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you never know, but you never got the opportunity to know.
Exactly. Now, I will say that I have found out reasonings, and it was because she felt that, like, so here's kind of what happened, right? When I was diagnosed, when all this stuff happened, I was, boom, down here. And she felt valuable in the relationship because she could take care of me, and it was something she hadn't felt. So she felt very valued. Now I start figuring this stuff out. I start figuring myself out. Business is going well. I'm like going right back at life, like, let's freaking go.
Yeah.
And now she felt like, well, like, I don't even know what I want to do in my life. He's already started this business. He's doing phenomenally well. Like, he's got his stuff figured out. Like, so like, I don't want to like get out of here. And then he's already got the money. He's got the success. He's got everything. And I don't even know what I'm doing. So that's essentially how that all came together. I learned it from her sister, her family, and her family, like, they're so nice. Her mom, her dad, they look at my stuff every day on Instagram.
Wow. Okay.
Every day. And so anyways, that day was horrible. I literally called my mom and my dad. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was like, I got to get out of here. Like, I have to go. And literally, my mom came within like the next day, picked me up. I packed everything in the car. Boom, done, out. New life begins.
Wow.
And
shout out mom and dad. That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Well done, guys.
Oh man.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that, I don't know what would happen.
Wow.
So, I literally left there and I lived with my family for a little bit. I was like, okay, you're going to kill it in this business. Like, you're going to save up. You're going to go live the life you want. You know, I could have moved out and gone live the life I want, you know, being very frugal and like, you know, saving up. But I was like, I still need to have support. I still need to be around people. I can't suddenly like live life on my own and like, you know, I'm just that type of person that like builds relationships. And so,
and I'm also hearing, future thinking. I mean, you realize what you can do now, but you had a bigger vision in mind.
Yeah.
And sacrificing those short-term wins for the long-term payoff, for higher fulfillment, for higher everything, seemed pretty prevalent in your story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I lived with them for a little bit, and then over about a year went by, I was able to go live my own. So I'm sure you've been to the Domain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone on here knows.
I feel like everybody that moves to Austin starts at the Domain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I went to go live there, and it was great, man. It was an awesome journey, but it was very like clean slate. Like, go meet people. You're 21 years old. You know, you're going to go figure out how to find people. It's hard to find people your age, so don't be afraid to go find older people. You know, get yourself in there. So it was hard, man. I went through a very lonely phase in my life. Like, I had social media. I was blowing up on YouTube, Instagram. Like, I was just booming online. But in person, it was totally different. I felt so lost. I felt like I was very alone. Social media was there. And I went through this time where, again, the keto, like, stuff started snowballing. And I really was getting a lot of hate. Like, a lot of hate.
How so? Like, when you say hate, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. I mean, there was comments of like, you're such a spam or you're a scam artist. Like, you're making this stuff up. Like, this stuff is, you know, it's BS. Like, it's not even a real thing. It was like, you're using cancer to make money. It's like, you know, this is all Photoshop that you didn't see these results. And like, you know, you're lying about this. And like, man, it was such a snowball effect. Like, there was even people who were saying like, you know, I hope you die from brain cancer. It was so bizarre, man. Like, I mean, I had like not death threats, but like, you know, I hope you rot to death from this brain cancer.
Oh my God.
I've never seen that bad, but it was shot at me. And I even had like, there's like, I don't know who these people were, but it was literally like 4 or 5 guys who were about my age at the time. I never knew who they were. They literally would all come and like, boom, as soon as I made a post, just hate, boom. And they would literally like stay up all night just hating on everything I ever posted. And I went through a very like, it was a pretty depressing time because I didn't, like I was very lost still, you know.
So how did you get on the other side of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where like, you got to meet other people, you know, not other people in general, you know? So like I was going to coffee shops and stuff and I met one person and then met another and then like it, you know, introduced me to him and then her and then him and then her and then her and her. And it's created a huge snowball effect. And now I've been able to really putting it all together. I really overcame that. I've developed such a community in Austin in general. So many amazing people. Like I met you, right?
Yeah.
Social media is a beautiful thing, right?
It took us a year and I think 2 months-ish.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have happened if I didn't go into that journey or if you didn't go into your journey on social media, you know? So, things went super well. You know, my business was taking off like crazy. I was able to hit like, you know, goals and numbers that I've always wanted in my life. And here's where it gets pretty interesting as well is when this started going super, super well, right? Like super well. My mentor, right, who told me about the keto diet and everything, he goes, "Hey, Logan, like, dude, let's do some business together."
Oh, cool.
I was like, "Shoot, yeah, dude, of course, why not?" Like,
the student has become the teacher.
absolutely. I was like, I don't need to think about that.
Yeah.
Let's do business. So, I didn't understand it. I was 21, just came out I dropped out of college. I didn't understand how this stuff works, right? So it's like, all right, so we're going to go to a lawyer. We're going to just sign some papers. We'll do a 60-40 split. I was like, okay, sure. I didn't know what that meant. Like, I knew it was like 60% of the business, 40% of the business. All right, cool, sure. So we go do all this stuff. And, what I was under the impression of is like, okay, cool. We're going to be like literally like working together,
Sure,
day by day, week by week. Like, we're gonna grind it out. And literally a whole year goes by. I literally didn't hear from him, like, not one time.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
Hey, let's go into business together. Paperwork is drawn up to make it legal, and then ghost.
Literally ghost. So like, he was traveling across the world. He was in South Africa for 4 to 6 months. And we met maybe once every other month. He invested $0, and it was more of those it was a deal for him where he made like significant passive income without doing anything. It's almost like people in the stock market are like, yeah, I'm gonna get so rich off the stock market. Just click a button, boom.
Yeah. So let me get this straight real
Yeah.
quick. So was it, hey, let's create something new together, let's go into something new together, or was what happened, he just attached 60%, or he attached himself to you and received 60% of the work that you were doing?
So he received 40%.
Okay, it was the other way around. Okay,
so 40%. I still outright owned the business. I created it, I built it, everything, but he now had 40% ownership of it. And I mean, it's hard for me to say no to that. I was like, yeah, of course, man. He was wealthy, successful, everything.
You already had a relationship, clearly got so much value out of it. It was
Absolutely.
easy. I'm thinking of all the mentors and coaches and people I have in my life that are above me. If they were like, hey, Chase, let's do something together. Yeah, don't even tell me what it is. I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. So a whole year goes by, dude, and I was starting to lose it. I was like, okay, I'm putting in my blood, sweat, and tears. I'm not even living a social life because I'm making this thing go phenomenally well. Like, it was going really well, but I was like, I want this to go super, super well. So we're making like a fat load of money. Like, it was going super well. And every day I was like, 40%.
And you're doing, just so we can clarify for the listener, fitness coaching, nutrition coaching?
Yeah, fitness, nutrition coaching online.
Okay.
Yeah. So every day that went by, man, like, all this money was coming in. And I was like, there goes 40%. And there goes 40%. There goes 40%. And it started really adding up in my mind because I was like, I'm doing everything.
And adding up in his bank account.
It's like going to him. So I'm like, well, I mean, it's pretty worthless. And so at the end of this, I had to, obviously those deep talks of like, we got to figure this out. Now, legally, on those papers and stuff, it was stated, okay, in order for you to leave or him to leave, it requires a buyout. And again, if you don't know what a buyout is, it's pretty intense, right? So if you and I are doing business, whatever, making $200,000, whatever, we got to look at your value, and then we would basically 3x that. There's a lot of ways of doing it, right? But then I would have to buy you out.
What kind of valuation would you put on it for X amount of time? And you multiply that by the valuation, and boom, there's in order for me to leave, I need X amount of money.
Exactly. I didn't get it. So I basically was like, hey, look, like, dude, like, I'm doing everything. I'm literally putting my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, and I feel like there's nothing coming from you what I thought there would be. And of course, his answer was like, no, like, we're not going to do that. Like, no.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
He's got a sweet deal going on.
Oh, of course, right? And so, like, I was like, if you think that you making this money is what you believe is right for you by not doing the work you said you were going to do, then that's fine. I'll let you live with that. And after a very long discussion, very long talk, we went through legal stuff, finally got rid of him. He got a decent check. It wasn't a full buyout. I'll say that. So we worked out some stuff. He still got a pretty good chunk. And it was more like I don't even care about the money. Like, just cut it, done, life goes on. So
I want to move on.
Yeah. So what's funny though is, like, in the middle of all this, okay, there's like, so we started working together in January. In June time, there's this guy who's on Instagram, and he just like is messaging me day in and day out. Like he's like, hey dude, like, love what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. And of course, you get those, you're like, all right, whatever. Like I don't even know you, whatever, bye. And he just kept coming back. He kept coming back and coming back. And I was like, who is this dude? Like he is so freaking serious about this thing. And he was sending like, content. He was like, dude, I would go at this angle and that angle. And I was like, what? Like, and so
I get quite a few of those. Yeah.
Of course,
I know
right?
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, I do cold outreach every day, but like something about this guy, like he would not stop. Like he was coming at me literally month by month by month. And I looked at it, I was like, he's doing more work than my business partner. He's getting paid $0. I've told him no every single time. So why is he not gone? And so we...
Oh, let me just see how that looks real quick. Oh, it's a motion light. Okay, we're good.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah, all right.
But so like December comes around, I get rid of this business partner. Now this is super interesting because this guy lives in Ireland. Okay, he's full Irish.
Wow.
Never met the guy in my life.
Wow.
Not one time. And he goes, yeah. So here's what I'm thinking. Why don't we do a 65-35 revenue share? No legal binding. We'll just kind of shake hands, and we'll do business together. Anyone watching
we'll shake
this,
hands emoji via DM.
Exactly.
That's the deal.
Exactly. And anybody who knows business would say like that is the stupidest decision you could ever make.
It's not gonna hold up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, dude, I don't know what it was. I was like, yeah, let's do it. I did it, and it was the best business, almost the best life decision I've ever made.
Wow.
So we've been doing business together for 4 years now, straight.
No shit.
I've met him one time. So we've met face to face one time. So I've literally like spent more time with you here than I have with him. And I've known him for 4 years straight.
Do I get a cut of it now? I mean, my time is money.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. But no, it was yeah, man. So like we've chatted literally every single day for 4 years straight. Literally not one day has gone by that we have not checked in, chatted about what the new steps are, what we're gonna do, any of that stuff. And I've built as much trust with him as I have literally with my family. And what's crazy is, again, there's no legal bindings. I could end up not paying him at the end of the month. He could shut down the whole business tomorrow. So it's almost like we got a gun to each other's head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we're not going to pull the trigger. Right? So that's how it is. And man, it has just been incredible. Like it's helped me achieve goals in my business. I knew were possible. I thought it was, 20 years from now, like that's when I'll be able to do it. And it has been incredible. And so basically put all that stuff together. Like he has been there. My family's been there. There's a lot of people who have been there and seen the whole journey and stuff. And like, I'm just so grateful for how all of this comes together, where that's why I called my book, Thank You Cancer. Not Fuck You Cancer, right? Because cancer's bad. It's killing people. It's horrible. I hate it. I don't love it. But I had it. I can't go in the past and get rid of that, but I can create something out of that. There's basically a pile of dirt. Okay. This thing is so ugly, disgusting, but there are diamonds in there.
Yes.
Do you want to carve them out?
Yes.
Or do you want to keep saying, oh, it looks so ugly, I don't want that. Right. So that's why
I don't want to get my hands dirty.
Exactly. So you put that all together. That's how I basically, and basically to summarize it up, like my journey with my business partner, my business connections, relationships I've built, opportunities I've had, like being on this podcast, like those things have made me look at this whole journey as like, I'm grateful for all these terrible things, So.
Well, man, what an amazing journey. And I could go so many other different ways with other questions, but just the way that you told your story, your adversities, and how you turned them into your advantage, and just wrapped it up in such a great way there at the end, man. I want to ask you my final question.
Yeah.
And it really does embody already the whole philosophy here at Everforward. And that's, you're going to be dealt shit sandwiches. Things are not going to go your way. Things are going to go your way. Things are going to go left, right, up, and down all the time. But you have to choose. It has to be a conscious choice that no matter what, it's removing this is a good thing, this is a bad thing. These are things. This is life. And no matter what, I choose to show up and get my hands dirty. I choose to learn the lesson. I choose to take the good with the bad, the pain with the pleasure, so that we can not only continue to move forward in life, to live a life ever forward, like I say, but to be the example and to connect and to pay it forward, to pay it to everybody else. So what do those two words mean to you, man? How would you say you live a life ever forward?
Yeah, man, so a quote changed my life in that journey. It always seems impossible until it is done. I thought brain cancer, overcoming that, impossible. I thought dropping out of college, running a business that was actually going to go super well, impossible. Professors say it was impossible. I failed papers because I wrote about it and these things. But when you actually take the action, you actually do it, everything is possible. Literally, like, again, Thomas Edison in the light bulb, he failed 10,000 times, right? He failed so many times, but one time he didn't. So it is possible. So I always see that 1% of this is possible, that is possible, and that's how I always see it. That's what wakes me up every day, and that's how I always go ever forward.
Powerful, man, powerful. Where can people learn more about you? Where can they get your book? Where can they go? We'll, of course, have everything listed down in the show notes for everybody, but where can they go to learn more about you, connect with you now?
Yeah, I mean, you can look me up on Instagram, Logan Sneed, or Millionaire Momentum on YouTube. It's basically like a mindset channel about, like, you know, building wealth, mental growth, those sort of things. And yeah, my book is Thank You Cancer.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, dude, I got to say this, like, real quick. Like, man, I've watched your stuff. I've listened to your stuff.
Thank you.
It is incredible. I'm very grateful to be here. And yeah, man, I respect and really admire the Everforward brand. Like, because I've seen your story. I know about, you know, what your journey and those sort of things. And that's what keeps me going, right? It keeps me going. It keeps you going. It keeps us all going.
We do it for ourselves, but then we do it for each other.
Exactly. Like, we all got our own story, right? There's all a lot of crazy things that have happened to us. And that's why when I'm not saying we all got to express it and get it out there. That's not what we have to do, but we have to understand, like, you're not alone.
Thank you for saying that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not alone. We all have our own journey.
Yeah.
And that's how we can come together.
Absolutely, man. Dude, my pleasure. Thank you.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.